Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about the tools that I use in the building of my models. Mark Batson with Hobby Dude 007, he did a video a couple days ago and showed all the different tools that he uses in an average build, and he put out a request to all the content creators to do the same and show what they use. Obviously it's going to be a lot of the same stuff people use, and then there's going to be a lot of different things. So anyway, this video is just going to show what I use in a typical average build on all my stuff. So with that, let's get building. Okay everybody, so again we're going to just look at some of the tools and the miscellaneous stuff that I use on a pretty much average build on everything I do. Like I say, majority of this stuff I'm going to show you I use on a model during the assembly of it. First thing I want to show you so I can get this big contraption out of the way is what I call my frame rotisserie. I found this a couple years ago after I seen a couple other people talking about using them, and I actually think it's used for mainly computer boards and electronic boards and so forth, where they use to solder on and all. But basically what it is, you would put the frame in between these two pieces right here, and basically it just rotates like an actual one-to-one car rotisserie you see the restoration guys use. And I just like it, and because when you put the frame in here, you got both hands that you can use to put your parts on your frame, run wiring, detail paint anything you need to, hold it while you're gluing stuff together and so forth. And it adjusts. You can actually loosen it up right here, and these pieces will go. So whatever size frame you got, it will hold. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's grooves on both of these pieces, so you can pretty much get a good grip wherever you need to on any kind of frame. So any automotive car builders, if you don't have one of these, you really need to get one. It actually has helped me tremendously after I got mine. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. And let's see here, let's take a look at the glues. Pretty much a lot of these are going to be like everybody else is using, but I'll just show you what I've got. Since testers, you can't get the metal tip glue no more, the Model Master, I've gone now with the Revell, and I think it works just as good. It's same purpose, but I love the metal tip. I know they make a plastic tip one, but you really need the metal tip. It's a whole lot better unit to use. My go-to super glue is the Loctite Professional Liquid. I've got 2 or 3 others, but this is mainly the one that I grab when I'm looking for my super glue. Of course, we got the Tamayas, we got the extra thin and the quick setting extra thin. Use both of those just constantly. I also have the Evergreen Canopy glue. I like this white glue over a lot of the other stuff. Again, this is personal preference, but it always works good for me. And then of course the Plastistruck plastic weld. Everybody uses this. I don't use a lot of this because it's really it welds the plastic quick, so I only use this when necessary, basically. And then the other glue I use is a ultraviolet light type glue. I found out about these about a year or so ago, and I've been using it especially on clear parts. You just pull the tip off right here, and you just shake it real good because it's real thick, and you just get it to come down, and it'll come out on its own. You don't have to do nothing else. Just give it a couple good shakes and it'll start coming out. And if you've never used one of these, you just put it around the area that you want the contact to be, and then you put your part on there, like your clear part or whatsoever, and until you pull this little trigger back and pull the let the blue light hit it, or the ultraviolet light, you can move that part. It will sit there and sit there. You can, an hour later, you can move that part. But once you're ready for it to seal down and be good and tight, you pull the trigger back for the ultraviolet light. I don't know if you can see it lighting up there now. And you just follow that part around where the glue line's at. And you want it to hit for about 5 to 10 seconds. all the way around, so you just move it real slow. And trust me, once that ultraviolet light hits it for about 5 to 10 seconds, that part's not coming off. It's on there solid. It ain't going nowhere. So I love this, especially like for clear parts, headlights, tail lights, you know, some of your front running lights and so forth. It's really great for that kind of stuff. So that's the glues that I use. Get this out of the way real quick. Next thing I'll do, I'll show you some of my, these are just 2 or 3 of my favorite go-to tweezers. Like I said, I've got several that I use. Like all of us, we've got different ones where I pick up and all so forth. But these are probably the 3 I use the most. This one I use because it's got some tension on it, so it'll hold some parts without me having to hold it. This is my main go-to for just putting parts down, small parts, everyday use, so forth. And then I use this pair quite a bit too because it's got the angle. But again, I've got 2 or 3 pair of angled ones, different lengths and so forth. Then just regular tweezers. There's several of them on my holder over here where I've got. But that's probably the 3 I pick up the most. Knives, real quick, the hobby knives. We all have, again, a bunch of those, and there's plenty of them I've got. Here's just my regular hobby knife. This is the one that I keep in my hand majority of the time just to do some real simple, quick trimming or, you know, fine cut or something like that. The next one I use is this one right here. This is the one, like when I use my tape, like if I'm taping up, say, seats for two-tone, or like on a body, or anywhere that I'm doing some fine trimming, like on tape or something like that. I use this knife right here because I keep it, you know, a fairly sharp blade on it. This knife right here is the one I use for all my bare metal, and I like it because it's got a light on it. You probably can't, oh, there you can see it. So that helps when I'm trimming. If I can't get a good light off my bench when I'm trimming bare metal, we all know how hard that is sometimes. So that'll put a light off on that. So that's strictly my bare metal foil knife right there. This one right here, I love. I found this one probably a couple years ago, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. I'm going to try to do it. But basically this one has got a flexible blade on it. So let's see here. Anyway, so it'll bend. So the purpose of this one is if you're trying to trim something, like on a frame or something, or anywhere for that matter, and you can't get your knife straight across and you don't want to use sandpaper, you're just trying to get a fine trim on it, you can use this because you can push it down and just work your blade across it. The blades are actually, like I said, they're just real flexible. The knife came with, I think, 10 blades. I've never changed the blade yet. It still does what I need, but like I said, I don't use it that often. But the purpose of this one, like I said, is mainly just the fact it's got a flexible blade. So, and it's pretty sharp, so you can do what you need to with that. And then this thing right here, I don't know if you actually want to call it a knife, a sword, or what you want to call it. But I got this several years ago to IPMS Nationals from a company, Zucamora. And if anybody's not familiar with Zucamora, they mainly do airplane model kits. And their kits, you know how the old saying is you can shake a Tamiya box and the plane or car or whatever will just fall out built? With Zucamora, you don't even have to shake your box. You just have to look at it and the plane will come out. They're some of the most detailed plane kits that you'll ever see. I've never built one. I'm not really a plane guy. I have built some planes, but anyway, they have a bunch of tools and stuff. Paint brushes, which their paint brushes, detail brushes, are out of this world too. But anyway, this piece right here, I don't have a piece of plastic. I didn't get one out. But say this was a piece of plastic or whatever you're trying to trim, especially like on drive shafts, tailpipes, exhausts for the guys that doing automotive. And it's angled, I'm going to see if I can get here. Anyway, it's flat on the back side, and then but these two sides right here are angled, sort of like a knife or something, so to speak. And what you would do, you just drag it, and you can drag it this way, and so forth. and it's really sharp. I mean, you can run your finger across it, it's not going to bother you, but when you put it against plastic, and this is a whole lot smoother trying to trim and stuff like that than using a hobby knife. Obviously, I know you can use sandpaper, and there's different ways of doing that. You know, you've got the sanding strips, the sanding pads, but a lot of times if I'm trying to get the main part down, if it's a real high seam line or mold line or whatever, I'll use this and get it down to where I don't have to do so much sanding, and then I can just go back with fine sandpaper and smooth up. So anyway, this came from Zucamore. Like I said, I've been using it for probably 4 or 5 years now, and again, it's not a model I do that I don't use this on some. Alright, so we get the knives out of the way. I'll pull some of my cutters and pliers over. The orange handle ones right here, there's Xuron, Exron, whatever how you want to pronounce it. This is my main set of cutters where I cut the parts off with. I've got a couple other pair that I use if I got like bigger sprue or something I need to cut. If I'm trying to cut a piece off a sprue to use it for something, I'll use another pair I got to keep from dulling this one up. But I've had these for probably a couple years, and but they're, like I say, Xuron, they're good stuff, and I love these. This blue pair right here, you can use it for 2 different things actually. It's actually made to cut photo etch, so all my photo etch I do, I trim out with this because they are so fine up here and it's a narrow tip. You can cut your photo etch really good and close. And also if you've got small parts this just barely hanging on a sprue, like some of the military stuff and all, these are good for that. So that's what I use these for. All of these right here, the cutters and so forth, this is what I use to bend some of my photo etch. I do have a photo etch bender where I use for wide strips, but if I just got to put a slight bend in something, I've got a couple different shapes and so forth. These are sort of square, so that's what these are for. And then of course my cutters, anytime I got to cut like wire or something for when I'm wiring an engine or running stuff on the chassis, I use my cutters here. And then also these when I like wiring my engines, running brake lines, fuel lines and so forth, that's what these come in good for. So we'll get them out of the way. That out of the way. This right here is just a couple odds and end things. Again, on the photo etch, I've got 2 different pieces here. They start out small and then they gradually get larger as they go towards up here. And then of course this side, same thing, it gets smaller but then gets larger as it goes up, but it's just a whole lot bigger around. So I use that when I'm trying to do photo etch and got to put a bend in it. I can over that and just sort of form it around that. I got several different sizes that I can do off of that. This is just one of a couple different like type ice pick type things I've got where I can use if I'm trying to trim out door panels and so forth. I don't use this as much as the other thing I'm going to show you, but I do use this sometimes. But like I said, I've got 2 or 3 different ones, and then of course you can make a hole, you can ream a hole out a little bit bigger if you need to real quick. And then this right here is what I use mainly to do my door panels and door lines and hood and trunk and so forth. Probably won't be able to see it. I don't know if well, let's see here. But anyway, you come in 2 or 3 different sizes. But it's like a little hook type thing, and it's made by Tamiya. And like I said, you just put it in the door panel, but I have a whole lot better look with this because it's a whole lot finer, and to me it just doesn't do as bad of making the door panels as rough. This is a whole lot smoother cut when you do it, and you don't have to put as much pressure. This right here will drag along a whole lot better. So that's what I use on that. So let me set this stuff to the side. Of course, the good old drill bits. This is just one of 2 or 3 sets that I do have, but this is my main set I go to. Of course, the little handle and so forth. And then I think Mark in his video, he was talking about using the dead center drill starter. I have one too, where I got a couple years ago. I will back up what he said. If you're doing any drilling or trying to do anything where you need a small hole or a starter hole, you've got to have one of these. It's the best thing that happened after I got one when you're trying to get a hole started so you can start drilling. Because if you don't, a lot of times that drill is going to walk on you some. But one of the greatest things is this right here. So I have to agree with him on that. And let's see here. Just some basic, like he was showing, clamps. I've got, like again, everybody else, I got several different kinds, sizes. This is just a couple different ones. The alligator clips, I get a use out of them. I have tons of these. I put parts in them either to clamp or hold while I'm painting. That's the main thing I do that is when I put small parts to stick up where I paint. You know, I'll hold it down here. This one's got black paint on it right now. But I have a ton of these where I use it. And of course, like I said, use them for clamping and so forth. So there's that. Some of my other stuff right here, just some miscellaneous stuff. Tamiya tape. I keep several rolls of every size of this by the, you know, I've got 4 or 5 rolls of all of this in stock at all times. I go through this, everything from mocking up parts, laying off paint lines on the body, of course. You know, if you're trying to do an interior and you're doing two-tone, you got to lay off the seats and so forth. Again, it's endless what you can do with this Tamiya tape, and that's what I do with it. Q-tips, I can use the devil out of these. These are just the regular Q-tips. I use these when I'm bare metal foiling. Sometimes when I'm doing small areas where I need to wax or something, I'll put on the wax with this if I'm trying not to get it in a certain area. I can use this. This right here is makeup Q-tips. I get this stuff in a like your beauty section at like Walmart or anywhere. I love these because they're pointed. And then I also use some that are Tamiya. Theirs are a little bit stiffer, so they work out good. You can get different sizes on those. I don't have one of those out right now. But these are especially good, again, when you're bare metal foiling, because you can get pushed down into crevices and not tear the bare metal foil too bad, but it's a burnish down. Again, burnish down when you're getting ready to do two-tone painting on a body or something. So that's what all this is for. And let's see here. Toothpicks. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many toothpicks I use on an average build. And I reuse them because a lot of times I'll put just a touch of glue on it and hold a part while I'm painting it. Stick it then in styrofoam. And, you know, smaller parts like engine parts, interior parts, some of your chassis or whatever, different things. So I'm painting them. So I go through boxes of these. And then, like I said, after I get through painting, I'll, you know, tear the part off of it. And then I stick these. I've got, I think, a holder over here that I've got dozens of them in. And then I can reuse the other end, like if I'm putting on glue, which I use a ton of, trying to touch super glue or whatever, just put a dab, you know, a drop on a part, not even super glue, but just be regular glue. Or sometimes, like I said, I will use this, not as much as the Q-tips, but when I'm burnishing down for bare metal foil or the paint, the tape for the paint. Try not to do it too much because to me it tears the bare metal foil or tape if you don't watch, but I do use it. So yeah, the toothpicks, that's something like I said, I keep 3 or 4 boxes at all times of this. And with that, I think I have showed you everything that I've got laid out. So yeah, so anyway, that's what I use on an average build. Like I said, there are a ton of other things that I use. I've got the chopper when I'm cutting stuff. The chopper that I got from Mark. There's endless amount of stuff, again, like most of us, that I've got here in the drawer where I grab on special needs and so forth. But pretty much that's everything I use on an average build. So with that, I appreciate everybody watching the channel. I appreciate all the subs that I'm getting. Appreciate all the comments. And if you want a shop card, I'll leave my email in the description. And with that, let's get building.